I told you that the greatest gift life has ever given you is that it ends? We live in a world where death still remains least known about and as one of the most feared aspects of humanity. Across cultures and religions, death is often shrouded in the ideas of tragedy, fear, or finality that shows just how deeply it unsettles us. We spend money on anti-aging creams, life extension research, and medical help, all of one desperate goal: to outrun death. Imagine for a moment that you are immortal. You have infinite days, infinite time, infinite chances, and infinite do-overs. Would you call your friend tonight? Would you tell your parents that you love them? Or would you chase that one dream you have been postponing for years and years? Probably not. Because if time never runs out, nothing is truly urgent, nothing carries weight, and nothing demands to be done right now. It is precisely because life ends that it means something. As the philosopher Martin Heidegger called our deaths our almost possibility, it is death that actually forces us to choose, to decide. Every beautiful aspect of human existence, love, courage, or sacrifice, exists because the people who made it knew that they were running out of time, knew that they needed to make an urgent decision. Despite this, death is one of the few things largely hushed behind closed doors. Modern society has framed death as something private and tragic, as uncomfortable and upsetting. Society currently has a problem that demonizes death, and this can also lead to societal effects such as death anxiety, an intense, persistent fear of dying or non existence. While occasional thoughts are normal, our society has turned into one, where even the mentioning of death can cause panic, obsessive behavior, or avoidance behaviors that can disrupt daily life and prevent you from living fully. That being said, there are solutions to these problems, such as viewing death in a positive way. Death, when contemplated and thought about in an optimistic way, can actually bring joy and meaning to human life as a motivating force. For instance, in Bhutan, one of the happiest countries in the world, people are encouraged to contemplate death 5 times a day as a practice that creates peace and gratitude. Joy, they have found, is not the absence of death, because when we truly let it land, the discrimination we create, whether it'll be of race, nationality, or belief, looks fragile under our one shared fate: death. The Stoic philosophers such as Marcus Aurelius and Seneca built their entire philosophy around the regular contemplation of death. They called it memento mori, the Latin phrase for remember, you must die. The idea began from ancient Rome, where it said that a servant will whisper the phrase to victorious generals during celebrations to remind them that life, power, and success were temporary. Death is the one experience every single human being will share. It does not discriminate by age, wealth, or culture. It is indeed the greatest equalizer, the one thing woven into every strand of life ever lived and will ever live. Every person you have ever loved, every stranger on the street, every enemy of yours, you're all going to die. And so are you. This was also a popularized concept during the Renaissance, with things like skulls and wilted flowers used as symbols of mortality and passing of time. However, this culture was not built on grief and tragedy. It was built on meaning and gratitude. Because when you remember, you must die. You stop clinging so hard to certain things. Things like the approval of others or the grudges you may carry. Death, when held in your mind, has the effect of leaving only what is important. Seneca once wrote, "It's not that I am brave enough to face death. It is that once I face it, I stop being afraid of everything else." There is a Japanese concept called mono no aware. the bittersweet awareness of impermanence. It is a Japanese aesthetic and philosophical concept that embraces the gentle sadness of passing time rather than resisting change. The Japanese have long celebrated the cherry blossom, not because of how quickly it falls, but because of it. Its beauty is because if it blooms forever, it will move no one. We are like the cherry blossoms. Our lives are not diminished by the fact that they end. It is indeed shaped by it. Every moment we have ever enjoyed, whether it'll be a conversation, was beautiful because it could end. So I ask you to consider a different relationship with death. Not one built on fear, but one built on gratitude. Viewing death joyously, not because dying is easy, but because living, truly living, requires that you do. Viewing death as something grateful rather than something tragic. Focusing on gratitude, not grieving what is lost, but focusing on a life well lived. Joy can be found in the memory shared, the love given, and the contributions left behind. The greatest lives ever lived were not lived by people who simply forgot they would die. They were lived by people who viewed death like a motivator and remembered and chose to fulfill their life and burn as brightly as they possibly could. Memento mori, remember, you must die. And in remembering, finally, fully began to live. Thank you.